Welcome back. You got Will and I-Man here from the Block Runner, MetaZone, and Rovi. And today we're going to be talking about a little bit of the Metaverse, the government, and Seoul. The Seoul government.
Seoul? Where is Seoul, dude?
Seoul
South
is
Korea.
South Korea.
From the look of the image we're looking at.
Yeah.
That is the South Korean flag. As we know, the Koreans are definitely our allies in this crypto movement. I remember back in the 2017, 2018 days, Korea was the biggest purchaser of Bitcoin and
That's
Ethereum.
right.
They were killing the game in the speculation wise.
Yeah.
So Koreans, and I think all Southeast Asians, China, Japan, Singapore, a lot of different regions, Vietnam, are super bullish on this Web3 stuff.
When were they doing that? 2018?
Yeah, I remember when EOS was popping off and there was literally people in lines because there were crypto buying machines like in all these different cafes and stuff, and there was lines
ATMs.
everywhere. Yeah, crypto ATMs. People were literally putting in their cash for crypto.
Yeah.
And it was going bonkers, dude. Like, who's buying all this stuff? And then you could trace back to those exchanges. Yeah, it was Koreans, Chinese, Japanese, whatever. So here they are again, right? So leading the pack as far as adoption in a whole new sector, right? So now we're talking the Metaverse.
Yeah, so Seoul government officially launches its first Metaverse project.
That's cool. That's a great headline.
We've made a ton of predictions, but I don't know if we made one where the government was going to be making metaverses.
We've been talking government for Bitcoin,
yeah,
because we recognize, Bitcoin. We've already seen a few adoption cycles in our experience, right? This last one was probably more of a corporate level adoption. Where once Tesla got involved, you saw other big name companies starting to integrate Bitcoin into their treasury balance sheets and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So there's some wider appreciation than before. So we kind of have to speculate. Okay, if you're going to extrapolate down the line, how is Bitcoin going to ever get bigger than that? Well, at some point, governments need to, also adopt and bring in these digital assets to stabilize their own native, fiat currencies and stuff like that. So, but we never got to that phase for the Metaverse because we haven't even seen, any retail appreciation yet for the Metaverse. So this is definitely a leap that I was not expecting.
Yeah, I totally agree. And there's not a whole lot of depth in this article either.
Not yet.
It's just more like that they announced that they're building a Metaverse and that's it.
For their citizens to access, and it's not like they're just saying it's just going to be happy fun time. Metaverse. There's actual utility and services that they have planned. For their citizens to access, which I think is a big deal because you and I we part of our life at this point is always thinking about the tenets of the Metaverse, what it is that we're actually trying to achieve. Like, what problems are we solving in the Metaverse, or what problems does the Metaverse solve that the internet already has not? Right. And one of the big things we could think of is the dilemma of geography, right? Like where it is you were just kind of assigned to be born on this planet.
Mm-hmm.
The Metaverse kind of gives everybody equal access grounds to services and opportunity, personal connection, stuff like that. The internet achieves a lot of this too, but it's a much obviously less evolved version of that. Not an actual. There's no presence.
It's not intuitive that you can make money on the internet. You have to do a ton of research, business models. You have to understand different business models. But in the Metaverse, it could be a little bit more intuitive. And Mark Zuckerberg brings up the intuitiveness of the Metaverse and its application to utility.
That's a good point.
It's a lot more intuitive to perhaps swap tokens in the Metaverse when you're at an ATM. At an ATM, you can be able to exchange currencies. Mm-hmm. But maybe on the internet, it's not so obvious that you need to go to uniswap.io. That's not exactly clear. But if you see an ATM in the Metaverse, it's okay, I can use this.
Yeah, it's the actual hands-on interaction with something tangible, I guess. Even though that's not the case across the board, obviously a lot of people are comfortable and familiar with how to interact with the 2D web. And still find the value and services that they're seeking, but like you're saying, intuitiveness and I don't know, the feeling of perception, I think is going to change a lot. Because just think about our government system, dude. Whenever you're trying to file anything, usually we're still in the point where we have to go line up somewhere.
They're still using Windows 95.
Well, not just that. You still have to physically go pay.
Oh yeah, for sure.
To get your title exchange for a new vehicle purchase or something like that. For whatever reason, the government never decided to leverage the internet for that process, which more than likely has something to do maybe with identity issues.
Yeah,
right?
which is still a problem in the metaverse. And let's speculate as to the utility of the government implementing a metaverse. So we were talking about different use cases, such as maybe you need to update your driver's license. So instead of going to the DMV and waiting in line and doing all that stuff, perhaps you can just leverage the metaverse to access those things. It's like, okay, well then how can you prove that you are your particular identity? And so we have, all these potential applications of soulbound tokens. We have all these things that are not necessarily leveraged yet that need to be built, but on-chain identity is part of this necessary application to make this accessible by most people in the Seoul community. And we still have, so many things left to build, but most importantly, if instead of wasting your physical presence, for physical time, and waiting in lines and all these things, I think you can accomplish a lot of this stuff in the metaverse. I think I came up with a reasonable example when it comes to jury duty. I had to go to jury duty, physically show up.
Yep.
And I guess I've been lucky, but most times that I do go, I end up getting just spend 3 or 4 hours just to say, the case was closed.
Yeah.
And then you go home.
But I guess in metaverse version of that, the digital twin experience of that courtroom experience, you would still have to be somewhat present, right? Even if it's from the comfort of your home, you still have to
pay attention.
Yeah, be there to operate your avatar, right? Yeah. And then there's a question being inquired by the virtual court system.
Yeah.
You still have to be present. But so it doesn't encumber us completely, right? But at least, you don't have to travel.
I don't have to travel and
all the way to wherever the hell it is.
Risk. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but if you put on a headset, you are sort of forced to pay attention. If you have a bunch of jury attendees and they're all wearing headsets and they're all in the physical virtual world, that they're paying attention because they're moving around.
Yeah. It's
not the same when you're on Zoom where you can kind of fake it.
Yeah. And so part of this announcement too is I think they're going to get things started with, the segment of their population where this is an everyday problem, right? Disabled people.
Yeah.
Elderly people.
Yeah.
This is a serious way to encumber their, I guess, civic duties. We don't actually have to physically.
Yeah.
If you're physically impeded, this is a huge step forward.
It's an enabler.
Right? Yeah. This is one of the killer use cases of the metaverse, right?
Yeah. People
want to speculate. And that's another reason why it's important to highlight, because the last year has been a down year, 2022, and especially for the metaverse, right? Dude, the beginning of the year was so hype and it was fire. It was on fire.
Imagine if we had a full economy in the metaverse and then the pandemic hits. It wouldn't affect anything in the metaverse.
No, I guess not. Unless it would, an active, mature metaverse would probably increase our likelihood to actually not have to, imagine what happened the last one. We had to actually shut down the physical economy because people weren't allowed to go from here to there.
Yeah.
Right? But with a mature metaverse, there's not much to be shut down, I guess.
Yeah. Think about it, dude. That's metaverse is a solution to a pandemic.
Potentially. A pandemic or a future where, human labor is much less required, which we know is coming. Automation. We don't even need to wait around for pandemics for the metaverse to become useful.
Oh, for
we know
sure.
that. But it was a catalyst to where now everybody kind of understands the value of digital and virtual, I guess, opportunity.
Yeah.
Right? Whether it's to go to work and stuff like that. Nowadays, we're starting to feel a little less of that inclination. It's okay, things are back to normal.
Yeah.
By most accounts, everybody's kind of disregarding COVID these days. But nonetheless, on a grand picture scheme of things, that's just the way civilization is heading, right? Yeah. More and more digital, more and more virtual.
So a lot less human labor.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why we see the metaverse as a good, I guess, off-ramp potential from all these physical I don't even know how to call them.
Limitations, physical limitations.
Limitations, dilemmas, whatever.
Whether they're, born limitations, like genetic limitations, to just like economic limitations.
And again, like the one I said, first of all, geographic. So it's a big deal.
Geographic
It's one that not a lot of people, I guess, identify as like a huge problem for humanity.
But you know what? Herman Narula's been dishing out those tweets, sort of identifying that the rich Westerners don't have the same problems as everyone else.
It's true. And it's why there's like a definite bias from the West. Like you go on YouTube right now, search the metaverse or even crypto, blockchain, all these like things that
don't necessarily service the West.
Yeah, it's just a lot of FUD right now and a lot of scare tactics, a lot of people like, piling on to the negative sentiment, right? It's just, hey, see, we told you this all stuff, it was all a scam because everybody got burnt.
Yeah.
So you're not painting the more like
the viable applications of crypto
and the viable attempts to actually solve real problems.
Yeah.
And it's not these are not problems that are so like minuscule, like they can be solved overnight. These are, we're talking societal, systemic problems. Like we're saying, the problem with the largest segment of our population just don't have access to opportunity.
Yeah, that's true.
To even like lift themselves out of whatever.
Yeah, billions of people.
Socioeconomic status. Yeah.
Think about that. Billions of people don't have access to economic opportunity, banks,
jobs, anything.
Like, that's a big problem.
It is,
right? Especially if billions of people like go starving to death. I mean, it affects everybody else. It's a problem for everybody.
Yeah, not even start. Yeah, like we don't know. I saw so many videos of like some kid who like built this I don't know, like this engineer thing out of like cardboard and like syringes, and like he created this whole panel. It was like a bulldozer type thing.
Okay.
But just to think how intelligent that kid was, but because he doesn't have access to resources or
he was using hydraulics and to move the arm and everything. Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if you saw the same video or not.
No, but I know what you're talking about.
But you know what I'm saying, because you're the one who told me this. If we had an equal playing ground for all humans on Earth, that kid might not have the opportunity some other kid in the West does to like actually have, a pathway to realizing his potential.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
So what does that do for humanity? I'm sure it's very detrimental.
Yeah. If we could fix this problem for humanity, we might have 3 or 4 different Elons working on
there'd be a whole squad of Elons.
Yeah, 3 or 4 different industries.
Like,
an Elon for the food industry, an Elon for like the transportation industry.
Yeah, and I feel like that's what's happening to himself. Like he's starting to spread himself too thin.
He's doing everything because there's so much need.
I think he's losing his mind a little bit.
Yeah, I think
he has to be, because he's trying to do too much.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's necessary or not, but that's besides the point. The point is like, fuck, man. There's a bigger dilemma out there, and the metaverse, if not solves it, it contributes to that end. And it's not obvious right now, like a lot of things aren't.
Yeah.
Right. But I think once more governments start to, I guess, tinker around with their own projects like Seoul is, so they're going to have to kind of like be the breakthrough, right, and prove to these other neighboring.
It's a challenge to do it so early on because there's so many things left that needs to be built, like blockchain identity. I think that's the single most important thing to solve.
Well, to make it like, I guess, 100%.
Yeah, actual usable, like. Well, from like a government perspective,
you can still create these virtual environments in the metaverse and accept on-chain identity resources to prove who it is like that's accessing these services, right?
Yeah.
You can still be like, hey, I see your avatars here. Tell me your name. Upload your government files, and okay, now that you've verified it, I don't know, sit there for a little bit. Let me scan your face and match it.
Yeah.
Stuff like this, right? They can implement that. It doesn't have to be all on chain. On-chain identity is more useful for like a decentralized system.
But even on-chain identity doesn't solve the problem, because you could have an on-chain identity infrastructure already in place, but I could know enough about you, iMan, that I can fake that I'm trying to register you as me.
Well, isn't that the problem? Like if you ever get your something stolen, like
your personal information stolen,
then you're fucked.
Yeah.
Anybody could use that.
Yeah. So the only thing that could avert that is like you physically showing up and say, hey, I didn't file for this like car loan.
Physical.
Yeah.
Well, what do they do whenever you physically show up to somewhere to prove you are who you say you are? Even if
Well, they take pictures of you, and I think your presence.
even they just kind of like look at your card, like the person who's servicing you. Oh yeah, that looks like you. Okay, I guess that's you.
Yeah. Well, because I feel like in order for you to kind of look like somebody else, it would take so much effort, even though it's possible. It would take so much effort that it.
My point is, I think you could achieve similar, like
you could
similar servicing in a virtual space. You know, especially now with webcam, and just enable your webcam. Let me see your government identification,
or even your iPhone that takes a 3D scan of your face.
Yeah, easy.
Like that's pretty good.
Exactly. So I think that's why there's really nothing to really wait for to get this going. At least in an experimental phase.
Sure,
Let's see how much burden we could lift from society by injecting more virtual presence.
Yeah, I was thinking about.
Let's take some people off the road for one.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and I was thinking about like huge city like New York implementing their own metaverse.
Yeah.
Like I feel like that would be pretty useful.
It's even just like a communications ground.
Yeah, you can meet the 8 million or 10 million people there.
Yeah,
like potentially like far easier than like manually doing it.
I mean, that's a lot of people.
It is a lot of people, but
even M squared can't handle all that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
10 million concurrent users.
Fuck. Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that's it for us. Let us know what you think about the government implementing a metaverse. Like,
is it a nothing burger?
Is this crazy, or is this just a signal of more things to come?
Yeah.
All right. Follow us on Twitter at The Block Runner, at MetaZone.io, and at RobyAI, and we will catch you in the next video.
Peace.